Tomatoes. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much. Glad to be back. And I'm here with somebody very special to this year's Give-a-thon for Phoenix Children, Laine Schoneberger, Chief Investment Officer and Managing Director of Yrefy. Welcome to Give-a-thon.
Thank you. A pleasure to be here.
This is your first time in a corporate capacity as you guys are sponsoring the phone bank. You got like 6 or 7 of your team members here. Do you want to shout them out real quick, Laine?
We do. We have our whole team right over here. Wave everybody. Got Joe, Wendy, we got Avery, Adrian, and Dawn doing a great job answering these phones.
This is not your first experience with Phoenix Children's as a parent. The gentleman to my left is your son, Collin. Collin, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
And we're going to tell Collin's story today. So Collin's born in 1995, September, joyous day. Take us from there, Laine.
Oh, joyous day. Right up until, when he was born, we did not realize at the time that he had a congenital heart defect called dilated cardiomyopathy. So at this point, we were over at what was then called Desert Samaritan over in Mesa. And when Collin was born, and, well, let's just say things went south. A lot of action going on, and within a short period of time, he was airlifted to what was then PCH at Good Samaritan down off of McDowell. Very interesting time in our lives, very confusing, let's just say it was difficult at the best, right? So we finally gather ourselves, and we spend 17 days in the neonatal intensive care unit over at PCH. Got to know the nurses very well, and it's a scary time, and those nurses were there doing what they do to help comfort us and help us understand and walk through what was happening. Very difficult for them and for us. I know those nurses are very special people, because, I mean, holy cow, right? So after 17 days, they said that, he started to see some improvement, and we got to a point where there was not much more they could do. They said, listen, you're going to take him home. We've got him off of life support. There's nothing more we can do here. Go home, enjoy your son. And if there's a problem, come back. And I realize that's a weird way to say it, but at the end of the day, that's really, they couldn't do anything more. It was go enjoy your kid. So that started what became the next several months, and I say months meaning all the way up until he was a year old, of constant doctor visits, one after another, back and forth to PCH. Name the doctor, right? It was for his heart, it was for this, it was for that. It was a constant barrage of medical challenges. And at 13 months old, Collin was 13 pounds. Wow. We're doing everything we can to just figure this out. So at 1 year old, we said, you know what, let's have a birthday party. And because at this point, he wasn't really supposed to make it to 1 year, right? So we have this great big party at the house. And I have an older daughter. And she had turned 1 during all of this, and she missed her birthday because of it. So we said, let's have this great big party, and let's invite the doctors and the nurses and all of the people. We had well over 100 people show up, and it was phenomenal. It was a great time. And we said to them, hey, don't bring presents. We've got what we need. Bring some money. We're going to donate. We're going to pool this money. And what we're going to do is we're going to get a bunch of rocking chairs, and we're going to donate them to the neonatal intensive care unit. Simply because there was never enough chairs, right? A lot of parents in there with their babies. So we took this and we put it into a fund, and I went down to buy these chairs, and I'm explaining to the manager. I'm going to date myself. It was a store called LaBelle's. Okay,
I remember it well.
Remember LaBelle's?
I remember it well.
So I go into LaBelle's, and I'm talking to the manager. I'm saying, listen, here's the deal. I explain the whole story. I say we pulled together this much money. We'd like to buy these chairs. And he offered up, and he donated a few more. I don't remember how many it was. We put a little placard on each one that says donated by Collin Schoneberger. I don't know if those chairs are still in the NICU. It's been a hot minute. He's 26 now. So those chairs may be there.
Good investment, though.
27. Oh, see, I'm already lost. He's 27. He's giving me the signal. Anyway, so fast forward, just a few days after his birthday party, and he starts having real problems. And at this point, they say, listen, now we're back at PCH, and they've got him admitted, and they say, look, there's nothing more we can do. He's maxed out on medications. We have no options. Your option now is heart transplant. That's your option. Alternately, you're going to lose him.
And from that point, you just get put on a list, correct?
At that point, well, yeah, things got really complicated. Mm-hmm. So they were kind enough. They figured it out. They got us flown over to Loma Linda University, California. The Life flight us over there. We check in October 5th, 1996, and sorry. You're on the list and you're waiting. And every time that helicopter comes, every time an ambulance comes, you know someone else is losing somebody, right? That's the hard part. On the other side, you're hopeful that what you need is there. So it's very difficult for people with in that need. On October 26th, we were blessed with a heart. Now, the way that this works is they don't tell you where they're going to get the heart. Back then we had pagers. So they'd page you, and they'd say, hey.
Dated yourself again.
I just dated myself again. So we have this pager, and funny story, we go out to dinner. We're standing there, and pager goes off. It has gone off multiple times for various reasons. And this time it just felt different. Something was different. So we get back over to the hospital, and they say, listen, we found a heart. The team is preparing to leave to go get the heart. We'll let you know when they're back, and we'll go from there. And if everything's good, then we're going to do the transplant. I was like, all right, great. So we spent our time with Collin. He's a smiley little kid. I'm not going to lie. I got great pictures of him smiling, holding the pager, and he's never once frowned about the whole thing. But anyway, so then we get into the transplant, and they tell us in the orientation, like, this is an 8-hour procedure minimum, okay? So we're there. The family's finally gathered. We're waiting. And in about 3.5, 4 hours, the doctor comes out. And I'm thinking, why are you here? What is happening right now? Why are you coming out? And these guys, they walk on water. Like, these surgeons are amazing. So he comes out and he says, everything's done. Collin's in great shape. They're cleaning him up. We're going to have him in recovery. You're going to be able to go see him in about an hour. I got a plane to catch, and he had to leave. I'm like, wait a minute. What just happened, right? So anyway, we're there for 6 months in Loma Linda. We're doing the ongoing care. 6 months to the day, they release us to come home, and now we're back in PCH care. Okay, so I'm sorry I went down that path. You had to get the story there. So now we're back at PCH, and our care here, I'm going to say it begins because now we come home with a new child. And I mean genuinely a new child. He's walking. Okay, he wasn't walking pre-transplant. Now he's walking, and we're into this constant care cycle where we're coming down and we're seeing the cardiologists and we're doing the aftercare and the routine exams, the cardiac catheters, and all the stuff. And that's where PCH really steps up. Okay, now we spent a lot of time here. I often joke and say we paid for the West Wing, right? Because we spent a lot of time here at PCH. And all I can say is thank goodness PCH is here.
Yes.
Right? If it was not here, we would not have the kind of care that we needed for Collin.
And that's the prevailing feeling that we try to get across to our audience, too, is what a blessing it is to have a world-class facility like this.
Indeed.
I want to turn to Collin real quick because Collin, standing to my left, you're about to turn 28 years old. You're still getting care at Phoenix Children's. In fact, you are here for treatment today. What does this place mean to you after all these years?
In my personal opinion, everything. I've been coming here since in my world day one, and I have transitioned through the doctors and seen the other kids, and it has just been an amazing journey seeing all of the little ones get the proper care that they need and me get the care that I need and know that it is working. It has been amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. I also want to say before we wrap this up, there's a whole other, you got to know the mother of the child who donated the heart for the transplant, Kelly, who was trying to be here today and unfortunately couldn't make it, but she's still a big part of your life, correct?
Very much so.
Yeah, that's probably the best part of the story, honestly. I'll wrap up on that. So after the transplant, I sent a letter, all right, because this is how it's done. It's all very confidential. So I send this letter. It works its way through whatever system. It finds its way to Kelly. Kelly calls me, and we had an amazing first conversation. It was, I can't even begin to explain how that conversation affected me. And then she met Collin. It was 6 months, and we came home. It was April, and it was Donor Awareness Month. And we agreed we needed to shed some light on the fact that she made this ultimately huge, wonderful, brave decision to donate organs, because she is on the other end, right? She was at PCH and lost her child. And, Angelica, this beautiful child, is what gave Collin his life. And without her, we wouldn't have him. So Kelly, being who she is and her brave decision, her and her family, and I called her up and I said, hey, here's what we're doing on Donor Awareness Month. I got real involved with donor awareness. at the state capitol. Would you like to meet for the first time? You get to meet Collin. And when we're done, we'll all go to the house and we'll hang out. And you guys can hang out with him and play and all this stuff because, he's all, 16 months old, 18 months old. And so we met on stage. He's bopping across the stage. Kelly came in with the whole family. They hugged and we embraced and did a thing. And then we all went to our house and they hung out.
It's amazing.
And their lives have always been connected since then.
Thank you so much for sharing your story, but we're not done sharing yet.
Absolutely.
Collin is holding a big check. I want
sir.
you to talk about the big check, Laine.
So this check here from Yrefy, this is an $8,000 contribution from Yrefy. So thank you for everybody. And thank you. To round it out, my wife and I would like to put another $2,000 on top of that to make it 10.
Thank you so much.
Our pleasure.
Thank you, Collin, for sharing your story. Great to meet you. Laine, thank you so much for everything you've done for Give-a-thon.
Pleasure's ours.